What if the next Legend of Zelda game took place underwater? I just love underwater stuff and I love Legend of Zelda. And I thought it would be the perfect combination because just like the ocean, the Legend of Zelda franchise is both mysterious and awe inspiring. So I made a bunch of art trying to see some of the stuff that might be in there in that game. It's mostly underwater creatures because that's what I love the most, but there's more. So, first off, there's going to be a new ability called Ride. Basically, there are going to be these giant rideable underwater creatures that need to be scanned by a Link. He can ride them and use their different abilities. So, here are some of the creatures that I've made for the game that can be ridden. The Crimsonosaur. It's a dragon like creature that is extremely aggressive and, if successfully scanned, can be ridden. It can be a great friend while fighting enemies and such. I sort of wanted to make the design look like dinosaur like because I just really like marine reptiles, especially mosasaurs. I was fresh off of watching Prehistoric Planet 2, which is an awesome show by the way, and this is a design that I thought worked pretty well with the rest of the game. I wanted it to have some realistic reptilian features while also being goofy enough to be a Zelda design. Do let me know if I have accomplished that. Next is the brawler fish. It's a much less aggressive fish that has a habit of launching itself at giant rocks and even balls to break them to search for food. Once Link has scanned the fish, he can use it to break down hidden walls and locked doors. So he can get back to places where he might have thought that, oh, there might be a treasure here, but I can't open this yet because it's being blocked by these huge rocks. And then he can come back and like hit them and get in that way using the brawler fish. So the third design is the Cephalo rocks. I wanted something that inherited from the previous Zelda games as well, and I decided to choose and expand on this on the Octorocks because it just seemed so obvious. They are some of my most favorite creatures in the franchise because they look really goofy and menacing at the same time. Also, I love cephalopods, octopuses and squids and cuttlefish and the nautilus. All of them. They're just so cool. As one would normally expect, the Cephalorox can shoot projectiles and can be used as a tank once Link has scanned it. I thought it would be pretty cool. What do you guys think? Now we move on to the enemies in the game. And the first one is what I call the Goblin race. I didn't want the enemies to be kind of intelligent like the Bokoblins. I wanted most of the enemies in the game to be more like brutal forces of nature, like Calamity Ganon. And I chose to go with a Ray like design for the first one because I think the Ray kind of body type has been mostly just used to show elegance and grandness of the ocean. Um, they are usually depicted as gentle creatures. I sort of wanted to look at it through a new perspective, and so that's why I made the Goblin race. I made four different variations for them based on the different difficulties, just like how there are variations for Bokoblins in the previous games. The next enemy that I made was the Void Orcas. So the idea was that these are going to be the orca-like creatures that also has giant tentacle-like appendages that drags anything and everything into the depths of the Hyrulean Ocean, including giant creatures, divers, and even ships. There's almost no way to escape them if you are ever in their grip, and there's also no way to see if one of them is nearby. The player must be very alert and listen for their sounds, which sounds an awful lot like real life orcas. There's one more set of enemies that I have designed, but in order to show them, I need to talk about the only environment that I've drawn for the game, the sunken pirate ship on the Brine Pool. I had one more idea, but I had a lot of time constraints on the project. So the pirate ship is going to be one of the dungeons which Link has to play through. I haven't really figured out the details of the gameplay yet, but it's going to be a lot of puzzle solving to reveal the story of the ship and its connection to the bigger evils that plague the waters of Hyrule. I designed the ship twice because the first ship just didn't look that scary or menacing. And I want this game to be really scary because the parts of Legend of Zelda that I love the most are the scary stories and the lore, like the Shadow Temple in Ocarina of Time and the entirety of Majora's Mask. So I'll be showing both the designs on screen and you can see what has changed. I made the new version sit on a glowing brine pool, so it looks like it's a ship that has sunk, but not really because it's still floating in a ghostly pool of something. I'm really bad at interiors and designing levels and stuff, but I tried to make a few ideations for how it would kind of look. Looking back, I think the bright blue green was not the best idea because even though that's how it would look in real life normally, at that depth, sunlight would not even be available, which means Link would have to use some external source of light. And no matter what the color of that light is, the lit up portion of the environment would still have more colors. This is one of the parts that I'm just really not happy with, but I want you guys to see my mistakes as well, so here we are. The enemies in this place is going to be the pirate pose. Essentially, they are dead pirates. I wanted to bring back the pose because I think they were really cool and I miss them in the newer games. I really hate what they did to the pose in Tears of the Kingdom. These amazing enemies have been reduced to currency. Like, why would you do that, Nintendo? Moving on to the boss of the pirates. His name is Torment. Once a great captain, now wreaking havoc on the underwater kingdoms due to his unfinished business of finding the biggest treasure in the world. Torment was never meant to be a pirate. He was once thrown out of a whaling ship as a sacrifice to the gods, eventually rescued by a pirate ship named the Tormentor, and eventually driven by his rage, rising up the ranks and becoming the captain of the pirates. His methods were brutal, and he vowed to take revenge on his previous shipmates. He found them and destroyed them. He then set his eyes on the Siren's Pearl, the most valuable treasure in all of Hyrule. But alas, right after he took his revenge, his ship was sunk by a void orca. Now we move on to Ganondorf, the big baddie of the game. I wanted a beast Ganon for this Ganondorf as well. So the first Ganondorf design is the underwater beast Ganon, a Ganon that you fight almost at two-thirds of the game. It's pretty powerful, but Link defeats him. Ganon is looking for the Siren's Pearl as well, as it is one of the keys to getting his hand on the Triforce. He's also going to be controlling the enemies in the ocean, and some friends too, probably. And after you've fought through the game, faced its obstacles, uncovered its melancholic secrets, you will be facing the root of all the evils that sprout up in the Hyrulean Ocean. Ganondorf of the Abyss. Honestly, this guy is going to be kind of like the Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf, but with tentacles. Okay, obviously the boss fight should be much more cooler, but I'm not a gameplay guy, I am an art guy, and here's what Ganondorf of the Abyss looks like. I also made a couple of new races for the game, the Sirens and the Hyrulean Whales. The Sirens are these solitary hunters and ambush predators who lure their prey with their beautiful songs. They're usually hostile towards outsiders. There are sirens who prefer to stay in packs and raise a family. One good thing about the sirens from Link's point of view is that they have a lot of stories to tell, especially if you give them rupees. The Hyrulean whales are creatures who communicate with each other using telepathy. They've been revered by the underwater tribes as gods for thousands of years. One of their most striking features, other than their sizes, is the necklace of weapons and armor tied to their necks. The Hyrulean whales are really hard to find, but if Link can manage to find one, he will be gifted with rare weapons, armors, and other helpful treasures. So yeah, those are the designs that I made for the game. What do you think? Did you like any of them? I would really love to know what you think, because I actually took like 2 months to finish it amidst several commitments and college. If you like my stuff, let's hang out here on YouTube. Just sub and turn on the notification so you don't miss me when I upload something. Also, a like to the video would be amazing. And yo, I will catch you later. Bye.